not make this video too long. This video only shows some highlights of Tower Adversity. The rest of the endgame content clear are in the link description below. Previously, 3 F2P speedrun accounts has been created to clear all endgame content, which includes clearing all hologram 6 bosses, Tower of Adversity, and S-Red Whimpering Waste, with the fastest accounts being Experiment 3 clearing all endgame within 12 days because of how strong Cartwheel is. But that was on the old TOA and V1 system. And this time, with the additional TOA Floor and Whimpering Waste Ember system, we get to see how the new TOA and V1 is like from new F2P accounts experience. The challenge continues with the same objective and rules. We aim to speedrun clear all 3 endgame content to get its maximum rewards. This is so we can see how the game is like for new players' experience, how the new TOA and V1 system affect new players, and see what Kuro game needs to upgrade. Right as Experiment 4 starts, something that previous experiments do not gain access to is the immediate accessibility to flights within like 10 minutes of gameplay. Being able to fly outside of Renacita saves us a ton of time speedrunning. Because we are speedrunning, we do encounter quite some bugs when using flights at Huanglong. Experiment 4 has a very good start if compared to previous experiments due to flights in every region and quest. And on top of that, in patch 2.8, the amount of free asteroids has reached more than 610 pools. However, everything went downhill very quickly. Out of all experiments, Experiment 4 has the most terrible luck, which every pose reach pity. We even get very low on the blue pole also. Not only that, the weekly boss material also very often goes to lowest row, which massively reduces our team DPS. Even worse, we try to pull on new Voyage weapon combi and hope for at the very least 1 copy of Variation, which is a huge must-have weapon. But we ended wasting 70 pulls without even 1 single copy of Variation. Experiment 4 has reached the lowest recorded luck, and if it is with normal luck, the challenge may have ended 1 week earlier. On day 5, Experiment 4 was at Union level 47, and it began to clear Eggs, Aaron, Monkey, Memphis, Crownless, and even Infernal Rider. On day 6, at Union level 50, it cleared Sentry, Hectate, Dragon, and Lorelei, which we struggled a lot with her. Day 7, it cleared Fallacy, Fleur-de-Lis, Kelpie, Lady of the Sea, Arizonta, and a new boss, False Sovereign. At this time, the clearance was made only with Zani and Spectral Rover, which Experiment 4 reached the fastest hologram clear in 7 days. On day 12, which was Monday, we received extra weekly boss material and helped us S-Red Whimpering Waste. Chameleon's team were lucky to get a suitable golden token, but even if without it, Zani's team discovered a new technology by using the purple token to reduce liberation cooldown. Zani's team was able to get high score very easily and works even better than a golden token that was trying to be made for her. Tower of Adversity has become the most challenging endgame, which the biggest challenge is to build more characters with very limited weekly boss material. And also, both Chameleon and Rover has been power crept unless we look for better rotations and technologies.
This is my ground! get a minute to knock some heads around. Don't stand in my way!
Victory, guide my blade, pounding on you.
That's a wrap.
Sentinel, protect me. Bluebird, be my salvation. In the name of Imperator.
I don't have all day. Don't stand in my way! Reduce to dust! Now I have a report.
Sentinel,
Or to
protect
write.
me. Pounding, this is my ground. Answer me. Repent! I call upon
No
Sentinel.
I can stand a minute to knock some heads around. Come on. Ready?
Sentinel, protect us. Together we stand.
All yours.
Pound through dust. Crystals, give me strength. In the name of Imperator.
All of you at once. I don't do overtime. Come on.
Together we stand. Sentinel, protect me.
All yours.
Pounding on you. Just in time. We're shielded.
No problem. Come on. I don't have all day.
I got your back.
Reduce to dust. All yours. Like frigid death.
Life is in everything. Reborn from ancient roots.
A change of perception. And great.
Rabbit buddies, struggle harder. Entertain me. Let's have fun. Crimson Blossom. Let's have fun. Leave it to me.
Like frigid depths.
Let's have fun. Bask in the sunlight. Reborn from the chickens.
A change of perception.
On day 12, one last challenge is left, which is the left tower 4th floor. However, the mobs was Thundering Memphis, which runs around a lot, and is very passive and not as aggressive as Tempest Memphis, which is a huge counter to Havoc Rover, who has incredible dodge counter DPS. At that time, it feels the DPS from Havoc Rover with only 2 weekly boss material is not enough, and that we may need to wait 7 days later for next Monday's weekly boss material. It was very unfortunate that this challenge could have ended also on day 12 if we have either variation, 1 more pieces of weekly boss material, static mist, or even anything else that could have strengthened Zani or Camelia's team to reduce their weekly boss material. We are now low on everything. Echo Experience and Crystal Solvents are now getting very low. But I do not want to finish the challenge easily on day 17. And it was until on day 15 there is a discovery with a new technology, a Healer S6 Morphe. In the end, Experiment 4 cleared all endgame content in 15 days. Experiment 4 could have done it in 12 days to be the same as Experiment 3, but the luck in polls heavily impacts the result. If we look at hologram content, Zani breaks a record to be the fastest hologram clear with 2 reasons. First being that union level experience to reach level 50 is much abundant now in patch 2.8. And Zani needed that union level 50 to reach comfortable DPS against all bosses with Spectral Rover and Marina. Second is because Zani is Spectral units, the best elements against current hologram bosses. For comparison, F2P Cartwheel team is able to eat all hologram bosses at day 4 with union level 40. But she's Arrow, and 3 of them are actually very difficult, which require a very well built second team. While Zani's case, both Aches and Fallacy can be finished with union level 40 Havoc Rover easily. Now, for new players on Whimpering Wave's Amber system, it is a small upgrade that gives new players some windows for DPS without relying on luck during Burning Wave. But outside of that, it doesn't change the playstyle too much, which in the end, we still relies on luck in not missing too much crits on packs of mobs, and hope for mobs not running away. Whimpering Wave is still far from perfect, one reason being HP inflation of mobs makes old AoE units struggle, which makes it less as fun as early version of Whimpering Waves. This is seen largely if compared to Experiment 4's Camellia to Experiment 1's Camellia in version 2.2. And the other problem is the problems with buffs, which applies to both Whimpering Waves and Tower of Adversity. The buffs are either way too specific for one character that's not much of others to use, or the buffs aren't even great. If you look at buffs from other places,
Trash.
there are a lot of them that are very creative. And also with current experiments, Nani using the Liberation Reduction buff is insanely fun and powerful, which I do hope this purple token do actually give some damage buff for it to give other more units options to use it. For Tower of Adversity, there's nothing much to say about it. For new players, the extra floors are extra counters for the free, abundant amounts of asteroids and poles from more added regions. Or else, new players can easily finish 30 stars with the old Tower of Adversity within 1 week old accounts. But as previously mentioned, the biggest issue with Tower is also the buffs aren't very well designed and not creative. In conclusion, if we look at the squad of team, the biggest MVP that makes this challenge to be cleared in 15 days is 100% without a doubt this NPC. What makes current new players struggle the most is definitely the weekly boss material being incredibly scarce and not much update to it, even though we now need a larger roster for TOA. What makes this NPC incredible is that he makes Whimpering Waves much easier than other Whimpering Waves. It isn't because of the new Amber system implemented, but rather because of the given weekly boss material makes a difference in DPS. So, suggestions for Kuro to help new players come into Wuthering Wave is as follows. Feel free to pause the video if needed. And this is so far what this experiment has shown. This challenge has shown that despite the new upgrade to endgame content, Kuro has given in return some permanent freebies in-game, which lets new players deal with the extra updated endgame. And before this challenge ends, one final lesson we learned from previous experiments, which it is also an account with terrible luck. The lesson is that pull on our main account if the experiment account is dog water unlucky. And I definitely became the world's happiest man.
Anything I can help you with?
Today will be a fine day.
I will be there for everyone as we head toward our shared future, leaving the past behind.
Would you like a fun game between the two of us?
Oh!
Time for another adventure? Sometimes I get a little carried away in battles. I didn't startle you, did I?
I should try to smile more, you say? Like this?
Make this quick. I have experiments underway.
Let's reach.
Hopefully, we'll make new findings.
Let's reach farther destinations together.
I will be there for everyone as we head toward our shared future, leaving the past behind.